I'm Greg Watkins, Executive Director of the British Chamber of Commerce, Thailand. 2021 is the BCCT's 75th anniversary, and one of the things we're doing this year to celebrate our anniversary is to reach out and reconnect with some of the key people who made the Chamber what it is today. And this afternoon it's my great pleasure to introduce Nick Moore. Nick joined the BCCT board in 1997 and he was Vice-Chair in 1999 and 2000. And during those 4 years, he was country manager of British Airways. A very, very warm welcome, Nick. So tell us a little bit about your time on the BCCT board.
Great, thank you for the very kind offer to talk to me again. It's wonderful to reconnect. I know over the years we have still connected, but my time on the board was quite formative actually, because I turned up in Thailand in '97 at the start of the economic crisis. And it became very apparent that things were not going to be quite as rosy as all of our predictions were. And it was, I think, for me, not just the aviation business, but that was difficult. But my time on the British Chamber, every sector was suffering. And I think the amount of time that we put in together as a team to try and understand each other's problems and trying to orchestrate and get the narrative right on it, I think was extremely important. I think the years got better. 97 wasn't great, 98 not brilliant, but then it started to take off. And I think all of us, and I have got, for later, I've got a wonderful picture of a very young, smiling, handsome board, and all the characters on it are there for us all to see. But I think my time, as much as I put into it, I got a hell of a lot out of it. I was a much younger man, and it gave me a lot of lessons in life.
Do you have one enduring memory of your time?
I think so. I think we have not just the charity functions and the things that we set up and the conferences and what have you, but we had a really quite an amusing charity. The Chamber went to Cambodia, and we went across to Phnom Penh and we met with the British business group there. And I remember, amongst other things, and it was a genuine meeting. That evening we had to make a speech, and neither Jeremy, yourself, Alan, Craig, nobody wanted to make the speech, so it came down to me. And so I remember very quickly writing a speech. And I think that all I said of any sense was hands across the Mekong. And I must have said that 5 or 6 times, amongst other things. But, the Chamber to me, it was serious, but it was actually had a very human side to it, and a lot of humor and a lot of relationships actually that I still have. Quite unusual. You make connections as an expat. Quite often they blow away, but the connections I've made through my time on the BCCT, many are still my good mates and good friends.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, how do you think Thailand has changed since you were working here permanently?
Well, it's interesting because I was going through my cupboards yesterday, and I found a copy, 24-year-old copy of this, which is the brief. And on the cover there is the new board. And this is 24 years old, And okay, I think diversity we talked about there. But you have, some amazing things in here. You've got really, really old school advertising. But then you've got, Harrow School opening and the environmental lobby. And, all of those things in 90, when I was around, 97, they were very much in their infancy. And I think the explosion of big brand British schooling and universities is a major thing for the British community and the British industry. I think for me, aviation wise, I saw some brilliant years in my time there, and I left in 2000, and nothing could really go wrong. But then we went into, as we've all seen, COVID, and behind me, the backdrop is Dubai Airport, and we used to have 6 a day. 6 Emirates flights a day into Bangkok, and then on to Australia and New Zealand and Hong Kong, and real connectivity between Europe and the world. And so much has changed. We're still coming out of this dreadful pandemic that has not only destroyed so many lives and families, but and so much of our business. So I think for Thailand and for my business, I'm still in the hospitality airline business. I think getting back to normal and Thailand doing what it does so well, hospitality and great value and great quality, I think I can only see improving. But the reference to the brief there, the magazine, it shows how 24 years, how much has changed in 24 years, from quite old schooly type stuff into, the new digital world. But I think fundamentally, Thailand is the land of smiles, and it has, as at its core, I mean, that has to remain.
Well, you've given us a few hints, Nick. Tell us what you're doing these days.
I'm now with Emirates. I moved on from British Airways and my time in Qantas, and I've since been, I've been back to Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, Hong Kong again, and now I'm here. I'm looking after the hub here, the operational hub and the customer service hub for Dubai. So I'm very fortunate. I've got one of the best jobs in the world, to be honest with you, and I'm fully appreciative of all of my time in the aviation business. And my time in Bangkok was, again, I was a young man. It was very formative. It was very educational. And I think, what I'm doing now, I probably couldn't have done I couldn't have done so well without my time learning in other places. So as you know, Emirates is an extraordinary airline. I was saying to you earlier that COVID kicked in last year, 25th of March last year, all the flying stopped. Tomorrow is our busiest day so far since that date in March. So we are coming back, and I see my colleagues, and this is not an advert for my company, so please don't see it that way. But I'm seeing a lot of our competitors come back as well. I mean, we have a big schedule coming up to many, many countries, but I'm also seeing the likes of BA and Air India and other carriers coming in here. So I think, in answer to your question, I have a wonderful job, but I have a job that's now sort of really, really working super hard in the early recovery point, and I'm touching wood when I say that, but the recovery point now for us is going to a point whereby we need to work extremely hard to keep ahead of the curve.
Well, see if you can cast your crystal ball out to Thailand, and how do you see Thailand's role in the post-COVID world?
I think for there are parallels between where I am now and Singapore and Thailand and countries such as that. I think for the aviation hospitality business, again, it's got such strong roots in welcoming people and providing fabulous holidays and connectivity all around the world. I mean, Thailand is like Dubai, the middle of the world. Thailand has another great connecting, transferring hub in Bangkok, but it's also got plenty of other very high quality airports around in the structure and lots of good places to go. So I think post pandemic, it will go. There's a thirst to go back to Thailand, without a doubt. We can see it in our bookings. We can see you look at the countries that are coming out of it now. People want to go to Bangkok. People want to go to Australia and New Zealand. And I think the countries that they can't go to, there's an even greater demand. So you've got us who will put a big schedule on to Thailand. And at the moment, we go a couple of times to Phuket, so we'll build up Phuket. But Bangkok is the heart, and we will shove lots of as much capacity into that as is sensible as the pandemic comes away and as the Thai government start to approve things. So my sector, I think, will grow exponentially. It will go very, very fast when everything normalizes, and the base is there. Thailand has a wealth of hotels, very, very high quality hotels, and holidays for everybody. So I think it'll be good, but it's been very tough for the last 18 months, and I think we must be cognizant that a lot of people have struggled very much in getting to where they are today, and I hope to get back on their feet again come towards the end of this year and into 2022.
So when you visit Thailand, Nick, what's your favourite place and what's your favourite thing to do when you're here?
I'm very simple. I'm a very simple man to please, as you know. I love going to Hua Hin, and I love that old railway hotel. I think it's called something else now. It was the Sofitel that I was around. Maybe the Centara, but that lovely old hotel, beautiful architecture, very fabulous high tea at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Very, 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 very nice. I also oddly enough, I still have all my suits made from Thailand, and I get them shipped over here. So my suits, my shirts, they're all still made by Jesse and his young son at Ratchawan. And going to see them, and they've become lifelong friends, is a whole afternoon. It's not a matter of getting measured. It's a matter of spending hours talking and talking and talking. And they're great guys. They clothed my son when he went to boarding school. They've done stuff for my father, my brothers. they're lovely people. And for me, the simplicity of reconnecting with my friends in Thailand is fabulous. I mean, going to see you and people like Alan Craig and all the guys that I used to work with, it would be great to have a reunion, actually, to be honest with you, in our old haunts and just catch up again and compare, how deep the bags are under the eyes and all the rest of it, because we have got a bit older. But it's timeless, isn't it? It's timeless, and it's human relationships.
No, absolutely. Well, thanks for talking to us, Nick. Don't be a stranger when you come and visit. We will get that reunion, and as you said, there are still some of the old guard around. Some of the old colleagues we still see from time to time, and And one of the great things reconnecting digitally, one of the great things about all this new technology that we've been able to use is reconnecting with those friends, colleagues from the past.
Totally agree. So, totally agree. And you pick up immediately from where you left off. It's Thailand is always somewhere, particularly Bangkok, is even when you've gone, you think you'll never not go back again.
Yeah.
Or a conference or somebody to see, and that's very much how I see my time. But it's a really good initiative to do this, because it's the BCCTB has been around a long time, and it's not just a club that you go along and you join up and that you don't get very much back from it. I always thought that the more you put into it, the more you got back. And the way it's structured and the way and you've been there, your continuity of your role throughout all the years. I mean, I've been I was there 24 years ago, and the continuity of leadership, I think, is absolutely brilliant. So when I come back, I very much look forward to catching up with you and chatting about old times and catching up with other mates as well.
Fantastic, Nick. Have a great rest of your day, and hope we can see you next year.
God willing. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Greg. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Nick. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.